Hello, Fearless Gamers, and welcome to another podcast here on Fearless Games. I'm Matt the Vet, and today I'm joined by...
James the Walker.
And Phil.
The
Actually-
Flockmaster!
Actually, somebody did suggest a nickname for you.
Oh, let's hear it.
I don't accept it.
Let's see, let me just get back here. Boom. He should be the philanthropist.
That's terrible. No offense to them, but that would mean that I have money, which I do not.
Well, we can dream.
Yeah, but dreaming $1.50
Flockmaster Phil,
gets
the
you a cup of
philanthropist.
coffee. Well, I appreciate
Flockmaster
the effort.
Philanthropist.
Oh my god, it just keeps getting worse.
I-
Just keep going.
Flockmaster. The Flockmaster.
Thank you to whoever said philanthropist.
The
or whatever.
Gamers Weekend.
Good pun. You're very punny, but no, I refuse.
Well, too bad. I think James may be winning out here because he keeps calling you it. I think we're going to start calling you Flockmaster Phil. Or just calling you Phil the Flockmaster.
But I hate Flock so much.
That's what makes it perfect. It's ironic.
Also, just because you hate it doesn't mean you can't master it.
Fair enough.
Fair. Good point. Who does that song? Smells like Teen Spirit.
Nirvana?
They
Wait,
hated
you just
that
asked
song.
Did Teen Spirit?
I don't
Listen,
know
bad
this
names,
stuff.
Bad names escape for certain things. It just
Fair
happens.
enough.
I'm horrible with bands if it's not the Beach Boys or Weird Al or Billy Joel.
Yeah,
That's-
okay, I accept that.
But
I get it. I get it.
But they actually hate the song they're most famous for. It's Kurt Cobain who liked it so much, he made them play it for like an entire recording session because he knew they were going to vote it off the album, but he knew if he had them do it for like 4 hours straight, they would go, well, now it has to go on the album because we have 4 hours of it.
Dude, have you ever played the song? It's so boring.
I
Right.
only listened to the Smells Like Nirvana parody of it.
Of
Yeah.
course. Well, that's like, American Pie. I don't know that song anymore. I only know the saga begins because that's the best version of episode 1.
It is so good.
Right. Weird Al's just fantastic.
He
But,
is. Speaking of fantastic, there's a thing going on in the gaming community that everyone has kind of been dubbing as fantastic right now. And that is 8th edition has been announced
Well-
by Games Workshop.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they give it a title because it's more than just 8th edition. You know what I mean?
It's going to be the Age of Gulamin.
But
That's a
fitting.
terrible name.
It's fitting. It's his age.
It is
He's
his
of
age.
in the
He is
game.
running, according to the story now, he is running his own crusade on the Black Legion, so Age of Gulamin.
And is he officially the Emperor now, basically?
He is officially the Emperor. From what I've been told, like, I have a friend who bought the Rise of the Primarch book, and he gave me the Cliff Notes version. He wakes up, goes to Terra, goes to the High Lords of Terra, and goes, "You're fired!" And then he goes into the Emperor's chamber, turns the cipher, and goes, "Put him in a jail cell because I don't like the sword on his back." And then he goes in to see the Emperor. He goes, "Emperor, daddy, things." He comes back out and goes, "I am an emperor now. Crawl, build me new space marines because I don't like the current ones."
Got it.
Basically. I will say that GW, why did it take up until now to launch a dedicated site for your game? Like, I get it's a storefront, like, for Games Workshop, but when now launching Warhammer40000.com, I'm like, why hasn't this been a thing for years? It's just
That wasn't theirs? Wait, hold on. This is a thing? I have to Google
They
this
made
now.
their new webpage to represent 8th edition to get you going, let everybody know what it's all about, a hub for all the Duncan painting videos. Praise Duncan, tooth and coats.
I also like how it's they have a little FAQ to get you prepped and ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
But and as they poke fun at themselves, this is a new GW. It's true. They even have a official licensed merchandise site, so you can go buy
Yep.
T-shirts and stuff. These things are all the things that I was like, GW.
Why don't
should've
you
done
have
this
these?
years ago? It's like
I
But
do
like,
love...
people want T-shirts. everyone wants like a $10
Well,
t-shirt.
here's
from
the
something.
thing.
It's just the thing.
You could have always bought this merchandise at Warhammer World. You could only buy it in Warhammer World. And then they went, people in the States can't get to Warhammer World. Maybe they want a shirt.
And Australia.
Yes.
Don't forget about Australia.
Yes.
You think? It's like, maybe our entire player base outside of England and Europe near England would like to buy a shirt.
It is true that we do like buying shirts.
It's true.
Oh.
People wear shirts.
Because
Everyone
they're
needs them.
tired of being shirtless bums.
It's true.
Yeah.
We do notice that the poster child for this new edition is half Space Marine, half Plague Marine.
Yep.
Leading to believe that the starter set is going to be Ultramarines versus Death Guard.
I have a theory on a starter set for the next edition.
Mm-hmm.
And my theory is we're not going to get a Dark Vengeance like box set. What I think is they start collecting 40k is going to turn into starter set Space Marine, starter set Eldar, starter set whatever to give you half the rules so you can play whatever.
Well, what did
They're
they
really
do?
pushing the start collecting thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going back to that, but what did they do for Age of Sigmar? I know this isn't Age of
Age of
I'll let
Sigmar,
you know what
but
they did. They got rid of Tomb Kings. That's what they did.
They really did with
They
blows.
did really nothing with Age of Sigmar because the whole shtick with Sigmar was you don't need a starter kit, buy one model, and there you go. You can play the game.
Okay.
Well, what they did do is they launched it and waited to see how many people burnt their army.
So far, I've
Just
only
the
sold
one
one
guy.
person.
Yeah,
Just
which
the
is
one guy.
okay. Fearless gamers, if you're a 40k player and you get upset with the next edition, don't burn your army.
Give it
At
to
the very
us.
least, sell it or something, or
Just
put
give-
it in
just-
mothballing.
Just give it to us.
Yeah,
there's
someone
that.
will take it.
Yeah, no,
and
well,
either give
here's
it a
the
new
funny
home or
thing.
sell it.
If you watch that video, the guy outright says, now, for all of you wondering, why don't you just sell it and make some money back? No, I don't want someone to have the opportunity to play Age of Sigmar, so I'm going to stop them by burning my army, because that's a bunch less minis someone can use to play this crap game.
Right, like I said,
That's crazy talk.
He's idiotic, but like for anybody who might be feeling that way whenever the next edition of 4K comes out, don't burn your force, don't destroy your force, don't crush your force, don't melt your force. Either sell it or mothball it, because
Or just play 7th edition.
yeah, with your buddies. But if you just got fed up, you can do this thing. It's called put it in a box and let it sit in your closet. Because whenever 9th ed comes out, you might come back, or you might get over your temper tantrum and realize I'll try it now, and you have a force and you don't have a melted pile of plastic. It's
Yep.
So, here's what we know, like, officially, right now, at this moment.
This moment being
what we do know
May
is that
1st.
Sisters of Battle fans should be rejoicing because they have to get new rules.
They
We
actually
don't
said...
care anymore.
They
we do
actually
not care anymore.
They
Yes.
actually did say, that's one of the first things we know, every single model from Forge World and GW is compatible with this game. They're all going to get updated rules on launch day.
Can we get new models, maybe?
Never!
Something in plastic.
You have that one sister that's in resin, and you got a rhino that's plastic.
You do. You got a plastic rhino. You're asking for too much here. No, but really, the dozen or so Sisters players will finally have an up-to-date force with everybody else.
Yes,
I mean, every time
everybody's...
they've updated our rules, they've been like, really, but haven't actually been that bad. So I'm sure it'll be fine.
Well,
But I just don't care anymore because I don't want metal models. I'm sorry.
With what we've learned, one other thing, because this was a big concern for me because of just how much more expensive it is. Horus Heresy will continue to use 7th edition.
For now.
Rumor
that
is
leads to concerns.
Rumor is that they're going to write their own updated version of 7th and release it as the Horus Heresy rulebook.
That's my big concern, because that right there is the seeds to fracture a player base.
Yeah.
Because they can't cater it, no matter what they write. for example, and they should know no fear, which isn't really a thing anyway in Horus Heresy and stuff like
Nope.
that. No, but like they don't need to include that, but the rules they include will make it so an Eldar or a Tau or an Orc or a Necron could buy the Horus Heresy rulebook and their army can be ran with it with maybe some just, minor like duct tape around the edges to make sure it's all held together. And the reason why I really think they should figure out a better way to embrace the next edition with Horus Heresy is because you do that, you already have people thinking that Horus Heresy is more like a codex and less like its own standalone game. Now you give it rules so people can support their old habits of playing 7th Ed, basically. And then you're going to have people going, well, why does this gaming event say whatever edition only? Like, I have my Eldar Force with this rules. And then, like, you just have a case where you can split your player base.
I would have to disagree because
I've seen people using 4th edition Chaos Codices still. Like, I mean, like...
Well, you're always...
Yeah.
Well, here's the honest thing. You're always going to have that guy who doesn't pay attention. I mean,
Yeah,
that's just something we're not going to... Even with 8th edition, you're going to get somebody who comes in with a 7th Ed Codex and go, I don't understand, where are the keywords? Because, no, there's going to be that guy that just doesn't... That is late to the ball game.
My point is... I mean, at the very least, like, you shouldn't make Pathfinder in 40K. You know what I mean? Like, we had D&D.
Well released.
The only reason why I would disagree is because they are on their own separate sites. So, already there is enough separation, I feel, that having them stick with their own 7th edition and having them have their own rulebook and all this jazz, I think the number of players that may get confused before they figure out that they are two different games is a small price to pay to keep the people who are going to be pissed off that they spent, $300-400 on game books to find out that they're no longer usable.
I just think, like, it's less that and more so the people who are, like, the Legion collectors. Like, if that is the case, well, now you got people who might just go, I'm not going to play 40K, I'm going to play 30K, which is fine, that's cool. But then you have a game within a game, you know what I mean? It's kind of like...
It's doing map packs in, FPS.
It becomes a little... it can become a little rough around the edges. Now, it's not going to endanger the game's success, it's not going to endanger players coming in and learning, but it seems like unnecessariness. Now, at the same time, we are 7 books into what's probably going to be 15 books. And yeah, there is definitely logistical questions and concerns for going to, updating to the next edition because it would require a rewrite of everything. So they're caught in a weird space.
But
I think Horus Heresy just needs to, like, do its own thing for a while, finish its books, and then make its updates as needed instead of completely making the shift, which is probably their intended goal of just, like, giving it a little bit of time to be its own thing.
But as of right now, that's the status that Horus Heresy's in. It will continue to use 7th edition. So if you're a Horus Heresy player, don't throw out those templates. We know that codexes are not going away. Every army will be getting a codex, and
well, we know they're getting a book. Whether they're going to still call it a codex or not, we honestly don't know. I hope they continue calling it a codex and don't pull this whole like new age. It's a rule book.
I'm continuing calling it codex because in the FAQ they said it's a codex. So until GW,
in the FAQ they said it's a book.
Yeah. Well, no, there's going to be 5 books later.
No. When they said we're going to on release a bunch of.
Those are the rule books.
No, for the forces. They don't call them codex. They say the codex is no longer valid.
They said these codexes are no longer valid.
My point is they're not calling. They haven't specifically called the new books codexes, and the reason I say that is because with Age of Sigmar getting those tome battle scrolls, who knows what they're gonna do name wise? Mm-hmm. I'm still gonna call it codex because you know what we're talking about. But what they do, I hope they continue calling it a codex because there's every opportunity to call it something else, which won't break anything. It's just like it would be the whole. Well, why are they Astra Militarum? Can't they just be Imperial Guard? It's like.
Yeah, they ruined Imperial Guard for me. I'm not gonna lie. The name change wasn't that bad, but I just stopped caring.
Like,
but anyways,
don't do that.
But well,
what they looks like they're gonna do is they're gonna take some of the good things they did with Age of Sigmar, just release all the new rules for everyone all at once in like little data sheets, which they'll probably call data sheets and not war scrolls, which is fine.
well, as of right now, what we've been told is that everything will get, like you said, these war scrolls, data sheets, whatever, on release date, plus a bunch of books with the rules in it, or you can download the rules for free. And then later in the year, they will be releasing whatever is going to be the codexes for this edition.
What was called a codex until they get some really stupid name and we go, really, GW? Really? It's like...
Either way, it's a codex. We're probably going to still... It's like the whole Eldari thing. Technically, it's only a portion of the Eldar that are calling themselves Eldari.
It's Imperial Guard. End of story. It's like...
That's another ramble over there, but I was pissed when they changed the name, but in the book they still called them Guard.
Yeah.
I was like, if you're changing the name, why are you still calling them Guard? Commit! Seriously. Commit to your stupid decision.
I will say this. Really don't... I mean, I like how we have the 3 modes of play, but I'm like, really? Does Unbound have to live on as open play? Can't we just squash that?
No. Because there are some people in Age of Sigmar that liked it. As James has just mentioned, there will be 3 modes of play. There will be open play, which is basically Unbound. Narrative play, which from what we're gathering is going to be where your formations and your like what 7th Ed is right now and how you want you to play 7th Ed. That's what narrative play will be.
Also, just like, dude, you want to reenact this cool-ass battle where you have 5 Marines and I have 100 Tyranids, and you say, okay.
Basically.
Yeah, like, a lot of those, like, thematic mission templates or, like, detachments like the Lion's Blade Strike Force would probably be narrative play.
Yep. And then there is match play, which is designed to be more balanced and competitive. It's basically your standard force organization tournament runs, which they've confirmed they will be 12 force organization charts for that.
Oh my god. It's good that they're properly saying we do want to include everyone, and we're just going to be officially saying, like, this is for this kind of way, this is for that kind of way. It's like they're giving us 5th edition back, but also letting us still have fun.
We've got confirmation that tanks and monstrous creatures will be much harder to kill in the new edition.
They keep saying that every edition.
They do get slightly harder to kill every time. It's just they have this weird act.
Somebody did do a test with what GW has given us so far, with a 10-man squad of Space Marines shooting at a Dreadnought, and the 10 men were only able to wound him once. A Dreadnought right now has 8 wounds. And
my problem is the idea of a vehicle having wounds. That's my only problem.
Apparently what it is it's no more different than hull points.
Yeah, but hull points feel different than wounds in the way they are, you know what I mean?
But like, they're the exact same thing, just that after you take a hull point, you might take a vehicle damage at the same time and lose the whole thing right off the get-go.
Right, but that's how a vehicle is supposed to be. This really hard shell that if you manage to crack it could just blow up in your face.
Well, they're going back to more of like a 2nd Ed, 3rd Ed, when instead of just making it the dude's stat line and the tank being his armor save, it's the tank has stats. There still is a vehicle damage chart, it's effects that apply to the tank depending on how many wounds it loses. So
I'm kind of glad they have that, because I think it should be somewhere between the two. Like, it should have. I like the damage chart, and I like something like structure points. I just think it should be more like, and this is me spitballing, like you roll to hit the tank, somehow you have critical, or you roll a 60, then you roll on the chart and see if you did something cool. You know what I mean? Instead of like you took 2 whole points, roll on the chart now.
I just think a Dreadnought should not. I don't know what they're shooting at the Dreadnought with, but I just think there's no way a bolter should wound a Dreadnought.
Yes, they did. They did list that every weapon can hurt everything.
See, that's what I don't like. Like a las gun should just. The las gun should be like, it does nothing. Run away.
But depending on the weapon, it can be extremely hard to damage these vehicles. So, like, a las cannon actually is really good at popping tanks and multi-wounded characters, and it really, really stinks at killing units because all of the wounds now apply to a single model.
Right, but it's just like that's the one thing that I'm a little on, is the fact it's like, so you mean to tell me that we are getting the video gamified version of dealing with vehicles, which shoot it with enough bolters for a year and it blows up.
It turns bright yellow and blinky. Don't forget.
Yeah, but like that's just something like personally, and what I don't like about that is I'm sure Gauss will have something special for that, but it's like, that's because Gauss's shtick. Don't take it away from them. It's like
chances
it's
are
not only that it's shtick, like you said, it's not realistic. A las gun shouldn't be able to take down anything, nor should a bolter. It's just you have to have moments, and it sucks when you're in the game. It sucks in the game when like you can't shoot the thing and kill it because you don't have the right weapon, but that's life sometimes.
That's war. Also, I don't want. What I don't want to happen is to somebody to stare down my Land Raider and then do something to it with a Storm Bolter. It's like, it's a Land Raider. It raids the land. Like, that's what it does.
Well, on that, GW did say, when addressed with that question, because one dude was like, what, so now my guardsmen can just shoot a bunch of las guns and kill a Land Raider? And GW goes, if you have a lot of them, yeah, sure. And he goes, well, what's a lot? I can drop 50 shots in a single turn. And he goes, add a 0 to that, and you might kill the Land Raider in one shot.
Yeah, but that's one shot. Like, the last thing you need is to then slowly grind. Like, it's the death by glancing, you know? It's like, that shouldn't, like, that should be appropriate for, like, a missile launcher, not angry flashlights.
Yeah, but don't.
The thing is, like, the way it sounds, weight of fire is more of an advantage than it should be. And, like, that means that Horde armies have an advantage even if they don't have the right equipment, like Guard with las guns.
I get how unrealistic it is to take down a Land Raider with las guns. I completely get it. I'm okay with it, and I completely understand that it'll happen to me. But
it has happened to you, I think.
No, that's Terminators getting down by las guns. There's a difference, slightly. I'm okay with all that. It's just at the same time, I feel like when coming to rules, I like where they go in the direction, the idea, but there still should be a cap to what that las gun, like, can that maybe have that las gun be able to hurt like light vehicles? Like, oh, you're driving a buggy? Well, yeah, you can hurt that thing. It's got no armor. But that's a Baneblade? Yeah, no.
Well, like, I will see what it says. I'm confident. Now, I'm not trying to just be the whole negative Olas. I'm just trying to throw in this way we're not a whole one-sided podcast on this whole thing.
It's just,
we gotta have devil's advocacy.
Yes, but this is what GW's been saying, and this is what it specifically says about the damages here. It goes, damage is a big change. This stat effectively lets a single hit deliver multiple wounds to one model. So, as you can see, the bolter does a single wound per hit, and it is optimized for shooting models that have a single wound to themselves. Whereas the las cannon, one of the most powerful man-portable weapons in the game, kicks out D6 damage, allowing it to blast chunks off large vehicles and monsters and kill light vehicles and characters in a single hit. Against something like a guardsman or orcs, though, the formidable damage output will be wasted, because, yes, it's doing D6 damage, but that's one wound to one dude. So I'm liking the fact that it's... I like how it's now, yes, I'm a team of las cannons. Goodbye, 30-man squad. How? I just did.
Well, to be fair, back in the day, it was, and the way it was set up, not really back in the day, but there was always that concept of the las cannon, you could just fire it and just melt 30 dudes because they were all standing in a line.
I understand the fluff behind it. But there's sometimes where I would rather sacrifice fluff for just sense in the game. It really stinks that you're, like, let's just say for argument's sake, I know this is wrong at all, but let's just say your 100-point Devastator squad. It seems a little unfair that they could take out a 200-point unit in a single fire because they just have their guns. But that's just me.
I mean, I make like a last cannon. Always made sense to me. It's you definitely kill that tactical marine dead. He is
Yeah.
so dead that
like
he's dead.
I get
But
killing
Super
that,
dead.
but it's like I'm like I just like yes I get the whole it's a beam of light, it can hit like multiple people. I was always like felt game mechanic wise that works better if it has to have a cap, and I like the idea that your last cannon. I kind of like this idea that yes, everything can hurt everything, but everything isn't meant to kill everything. Yes, the last cannon can kill anything, but you might really want to invest it in just killing your vehicles and gargantuan creatures first.
Really, it's no different than how it is now.
Now,
It's like
yeah.
you could shoot it at a tactical marine, and if you hit him, you're gonna kill him,
Yeah.
most likely. But you really
But
want to shoot
do you-
at the big nasty.
Yeah, do you really want to shoot at that marine when there's a warhound right behind him?
Now,
Right.
if he started talking trash, I get it. You gotta do what you gotta do. But it's like,
Um,
you know. you might
What
not
I
do
think
that.
is interesting is what one of the things this does allow to happen is since it kind of separates damage and rate of fire in a way. So the last cannon is like one shot, D6 damage, so one target can take D6, and then I'm sure there'll be another weapon like
this
the
is
flamer hits D6 number of people.
actually
So number of attacks, so it lets you see better. Like this is for dealing with like heavy, lots of wounds, big monsters and tanks, and this is for dealing with lots of infantry.
it's funny you say that because that's how flamers work.
I
Flamers,
know, which I
um,
like the idea, but I actually hate what they did.
you want your
What they did
templates.
isn't truly
I want my
any different.
template.
Well, the
Well,
benefit.
it changes tactics entirely because if without the template, you can just have a mob of guys with flamers and not worry about positioning. And
Yes.
it's,
Well, I mean-
it's not cool in my opinion.
That's,
at
well,
the
that actually makes more sense when you look at how flamethrowers in real life work. It's not a neat little cone. It's a oh my god, burning death everywhere. Also, the way it works now, you don't have to worry about positioning either because the rules force you to hit as many models as possible. It's a
the
little
other-
bit different, granted.
it
But it's
also-
not a radical change.
It also makes, I feel, for a little bit more useful for those squads. For like, let's just say for argument's sake, because this happened to you a couple of times. You'd have a couple of like a squad of sisters with a bunch of flamers. Oh, the dudes in the back can't fire because they'll hit the chick in front of them.
Exactly, I like that. That makes sense.
But then
Well,
it
does-
makes sense, but at the same time, in a game sense, you just wasted points on a flamer that you'll never use because
no,
she
I
can't fire.
did poor positioning, and
Yeah.
I
No,
had
no,
it,
see,
it happened.
It does. It only makes sense if you're looking at it. You're looking at it not as a snapshot of time, but like this is where they're going to stand always. Now, it doesn't make sense in the fact that okay, you got all these sisters rushing forward. What's clearly going to happen is they're gonna take a lunge forward on a knee and fire that flamer in front of their sisters. They're not going to go, I can't shoot, you're in my way. That's not how
Yeah.
it works in real life. They would clearly
I mean,
make room for
conceivably.
that, so it makes sense.
The only other thing I don't like is I actually, with D6 number of attacks, the random number of people being hit bugs me because
Well, that-
with the templates I could hit more.
Yeah, but on the other
Can,
flip
but it's
side,
also on the flip side, if you have a 10-man squad that's really strung out down like a corridor, you might only hit like 3, where you could
Right.
hit 6. And now
And-
it makes sense where like you're in a corridor, that flame is going to engulf the entire corridor potentially.
and
Right.
flip side is, flip side here, narratively, those dudes aren't going to stay in one spot and watch themselves get flamered. If I see a sister or a burner boy pointing a flamer at me, I'm going to duck and cover.
Yeah, it's one of those things where on the one hand, what you see on the table
Makes
some
sense.
of the rules make sense, but also you
Yeah.
have to realize these are static models when this is representing what would be a living, breathing battle.
It's one of those it's like as James is saying, what we've been really talking about this entire time. It's like that balance between what would make sense when you watch it and read it in the books, and what would make you go, okay, that's a fair rule for the game.
Yeah,
I
like what
think-
you see, a good example is that is in some of the Dawn of War cinematics, right? You see the guy with the flamer step up and shoot it.
Yeah.
He was in the back, but he clearly stepped forward and fired the flamer. Like that's how they're treating it model wise on the tabletop.
So they're assuming
You
that they're
can't go
stepping
too
around
far.
each other in motion. Like, because like where it is now, it's like, well, in this snapshot of when we're firing, you're in the back, so you didn't have the right angle, so you're not shooting, and that
Right,
makes
which
sense to me also.
it's one of those things where like it's a balance between models on
Yeah.
the table and actually doing it, and then understanding the limitations of models on the table.
Right.
Like in
They're
RTS,
they're two different ways of showing the same wet thing, and they're both valid. I'm just being an old codger, and I like my templates.
Well,
well, the
keep them.
templates are cool to have, period. But the whole idea of because they're in the back of your squad, they can't shoot is just stupid.
Another
Because
thing.
they actively say you can move through your squad even if they're in your way.
Yeah,
to just get through.
it's
So why
very
can't they just shoot?
it's very odd that with that rule of the heavy bolter can fire even if it's in the back doesn't apply to the flamer in the back. It's very weird. Like
I can understand you saying that.
But also, like, hey, you can move through your own dudes. Just make sure you're moving ends past it. It's like, well, if I can physically drive this tank through this squad, why can't the flamer lady step up 2 feet and shoot? It's like, come on.
Or someone just gonna get a little bit out of the way so they're not in the
And-
gout of flame.
And this never happened with us because we were cool with each other and all that. This also gets away the, oh, how many guys do I cover? 5. Oh, no, I think you only cover 3. No, dude, no. Let's take 6 aerial photos. Let's get the CIA to get their satellite above us. And let's
Somebody
get a
launch
team...
the drone right now.
And a team of scientists and you cover 2.5.
Yeah, right. What I will say, though, is that I do find it interesting on the one hand that in a way they're getting a little more wordier with stuff, like having range drop off for hits and damage. I'm like, this was fantasy stuff that you actually rectified against because people were going, come on, this is ridiculous. And now you bring it to 40k, which
point.
I'm fine with. But I find it funny. It's like, okay, you're shooting at max range, damage drop off. It's like, wow, I didn't think we were going to kind of go backwards and go back to more technical up stuff.
And apparently now it looks like number 10 is no longer the cap for stats. So,
Yep.
And D weapons don't, for example, are gone, but instead there's a scalable strength and damage that matches the effectiveness that you can find from every weapon. So it's going to be interesting to see how those play out.
See, 10 not being the limit, I'm okay with.
Oh, I'm totally fine with that.
To a point. Like, I don't want to see Jane Czar with a weapon skill of 27 because you can't. You know,
why
like,
not?
Because it doesn't, like, at one point, you're going to be so above and beyond anyway that, like, it doesn't, and especially when you look at how hitting used to work and how it might work now, is like, you don't need to have somebody at 47. Like, that Bloodthirst doesn't need a weapon skill of 50, you know?
Mm-hmm. He still only hits on a 3-up.
Yeah,
it's
it's interesting. We're gonna the way that I understand it from there is they went and did it because looking at the stats that they've dropped, they did it similar to Age of Sigmar. It's no longer he has a ballistic skill, he has a weapon skill. It is he hits targets on a 2, he hits targets on a 3. So there's no longer a weapon skill 5 versus weapon skill 4. It's when Gilliman's in close combat, he hits on a 2, regardless.
Well, yeah, we'll have to see, but like for the stats that we have, there comes a point where 10 did fine enough. You know, it's just like, while it's cool to be able to see like somebody have like a stat of like 20, 23 or 74 or whatever, it's gonna make me go, but why?
The stat line is mostly going to affect wounds, initiative, attacks, and leadership. Because that seems to be the stats that are sticking around.
Yeah. But it also sounds like the 10 thing, what they're trying to say with like, yeah, probably most everyday models are going to be under 10. Just, they can go past 10 to describe things better. They want to like separate the D weapons out a little bit, because just calling everything a D weapon over a certain size, they're like, yeah, but like I don't know, Mega Vulcan Cannon is different from name another D weapon to me.
Well, that's not a D
Volcano
weapon,
Volcano Cannon versus a Turbo Laser.
Sure, whatever. But like,
well, the difference was templates. One was like a last cannon, one was a template of death. Like that's how you get your differentiation.
And now I think they're trying to differentiate the D weapons more.
Yep.
So I kind
one
of
thing
get what
that
they're
can
doing.
be nice with this, for example, wounded, is that you could have the whole wound a tank thing, like we can, which is kind of but now you can have like stat line for a fortress wall and have it have 47 wounds to break down. Like that's cool. But
and
this what I'm saying is keep it in check, GW. Keep it in check. I don't want Cypher having like a bajillion something because I have 2 guns.
He's probably only going to have a maximum of wounds of like maybe 2 or 3.
I don't mean other stats.
And terminate. Well, again, I'm going to call it right now for Cypher is going to be weapon skill +2, ballistic skill. No, weapon skill +3, ballistic skill +2 is probably going to be his combat stats.
Well, did you see what they're doing with pistols in close combat?
Yes, you can shoot them into close combat, and you can do special bonuses.
Which is about time. Let's be honest.
Yep. If you're an inch away from an opponent, you can't shoot with a normal gun. You have to use a pistol.
Yep.
Finally.
And there's no more blocking the Overwatch. So,
cool.
Which is nice because I always hated that. Like, I'm gonna run this one wounded dude at your characters. Bang, 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 bang. Okay, now this mob of people. Whoa, guys, we can't fire. We just killed that one dude.
Yeah, I kind of like that you can get basically multiple Overwatches.
Yep.
Until you're in close combat. So
Yes.
now it's more of like you're throwing a screening group in to maybe get the close combat and then the next group, but you're not planning on them dying.
But that's what I like because I've been in that situation where the guy's like, well, I've done it myself going, hey, he's gonna die anyway, might as well get you to waste your Overwatch and run just a single dude into a unit.
Yep.
Johnson, charge!
Okay, sir. I also like that they've added, it looks like, a withdrawal maneuver. So you can move out of close combat, and then you can't do anything else, but all your other bros can now shoot at the dudes that are just standing there.
Yep.
So adding an easy retreat maneuver, that's
nice.
gonna be it's gonna make Tao happy.
We've got James will be happy. His Terminators now have 2 wounds.
And they still have the 2+ save, which is nice.
Yep. And AP value works the way now where, if let's just say a last cannon has a -2, your Terminators are now at a +4 when they're rolling.
Well, yeah,
which is nice.
The 2 wound thing is cool, but at the same time, like just looking at what we have in 7th edition, it's like, oh, well, what are Paladins gonna have? 4 wounds? Like, because they had double, they had 2. So it's like, it's cool, but now it's like, but there were some special units though. The whole point is they had an extra wound, so now are they gonna get even? I would hope even more wounds. You know what I mean?
Yes. No, they're gonna get weaker.
They're gonna get weaker, but
they're gonna get so many wounds because more wounds equal more human.
Yes.
But, it's just.
I do like also with the psychic phase. I like that they've kind of gotten rid of some of the dumbed down dice managing. No more warp charges. Your character can cast whatever power he has listed.
Well, that's how it should. I mean,
that's how it used to be.
I love that.
Well,
isn't that how it used to be in like 4th and 5th?
I get the concept of warp charges.
Yes,
but like the fact remains that if Tigerius, chief librarian of the Ultramarines, decides I'm gonna nuke it with my mind, he can just nuke it with his mind. He doesn't need to conjure up a charge. But I understand warp charges representing the ebb and flow of the warp. You know what I mean?
I understood, but at the same time, I was like, okay, I know I've got my guard, I've got my little Primaris Psyker, I've got 4 dice. Well, I've got my 1,000 Suns and I have Magnus. Here's my 40 dice pool. We're gonna be here a while. It's now they can cast whatever powers on their profile. Then each power has a value, which they must roll 2d6 and roll that value. And then power goes off. If another Psyker is within 24 inches, they may try to block the psychic power. This is something I liked because I always hated the concept of, wait a minute, the Tau don't believe in psychic powers. How are they magically going no?
Through the power of disbelief. I don't believe in your concept.
But now
They're not orcs. They can't do that.
But now it's the ethereal. The ethereal has to be within 24 inches for him to do it, because I'm sure the ethereal... I'm sure every army will have a anti-psyker just to make it viable. But I like that concept because it's also, again, it's like, that thematic piece, Marines getting attacked by a warlock blasting them with lightning, then all of a sudden the librarian comes in and does the classic, Yoda redirect lightning back at them type of thing.
Tell them this book is overdue.
It just makes librarians useful for a lot of cases without them being named characters or buying them extra powers and such.
Yeah, I do hope there is the ability for the lowly warrior to resist a psychic ability, because there are whole fluff and forces that are trained to do that.
There's going to be, obviously, there are going to be units that can do it, like using Age of Sigmar as an example, Age of Sigmar has the same deal. Enemy psychers are the only thing. The rulebook says enemy psychers may block psychic powers if they're within 24 inches. So by that standing, they're like, okay, only psychers can do it. Half the dwarf army has a rule that says they may block psychic powers. So
because they're dwarves.
Yeah, they're going to be so. Like, Black Templar will obviously get it. Any unit that has right now Adamantium Will is most likely going to get a special rule that says may counter psychic powers.
But it's just like, for example, blocking and resisting to me are two different things. The Psyker is trained to emanate his will against your will, to actively block at that 24-inch range. Space Marines are trained to resist. So they're not blocking, but so if they get hit, they're actually actively trained to kind of resist the effects. They are resistant. So they should, even though I'm not saying that they should get Adamantium Will, but in the lowly, not the lowly, but the sisters are trained to resist through faith. Priests are trained to resist through faith. Without Adamantium Will, I'm just hoping that it isn't like, well, do you have, let's just call it Adamantium Will? No. Are you a psyker? No, you can't resist it. At the same time, it shouldn't be like, I resist it like cake, because the whole point is that the strong mind can resist the psych.
I get that, but that's also one of those things where, that's going to be one of those things. Now. Yeah, that's one of those things where it can be a little bit of that gray area, because I'm sitting there like, wow, I'm facing against an entire non-psyker army, and I'm losing the psychic phase. This should not be.
Well, that's why I'm saying it shouldn't be like, oh my god, he's beating me with no psychers. But it should be stuff for Grey Knights should be able to be like, no, you cannot do this.
Stuff like Grey Knights, anything that has I'm pretty sure we can rule in anything with the Brotherhood of the Psyker rule or Adamantium Will have whatever rule or keyword, because that's the new thing now is keywords, will have the keyword that lets them roll to block psychic powers.
Well, that's why I'm hoping that there will be a difference between block and resist. And I'm hoping that also, if they're going to keep perils around, they make it more interesting than you get hurt by.
Yep.
It should be...
they did mention something about that.
That was, I understand it's an RPG, but the whole Dark Heresy, Death Watch, Rogue Trader really did perils right.
Yep.
And obviously a miniature war game can't do that.
To be
more
fair,
than just you take an unsavable wound.
To be fair, I feel like that's something that's hard to duplicate in the tabletop, because it's how do you a good example, with Death Watch, there was a lot of perils where you were it would be cool if we had one rogue trader dude with us, but since we're all Space Marines, oh no, it's dark. Oh no, the food that we weren't planning to eat is spoiled,
Well, yeah, but I don't mean that level of stuff in the miniature war game. I just mean more than just you get hurt by it. How about instead, now you're in dangerous terrain for the next turn?
Yeah, it would be nice to do some stuff, but they do say that Perils of the Warp is still around.
Well, yeah, because you can't have magic without a consequence.
And mortal wounds are now a thing. Those are probably what most of the D weapons will represent their thing. Instead of having this crazy strength roll, they'll probably have a lower chance of doing mortal wounds to things.
Which I assume is insta-death or something?
Mortal wounds right now is you can't take a save of any kind. So if you have 20 wounds and you take 6 mortal wounds, you just lost 6 wounds. You cannot stop them from going away.
See, that's cool, but now I look at stuff like Rosarius's, and I don't know, shieldness, and it's come on.
Well, those are still around. They do have invulnerable saves. Mortal wounds are representing basically the D weapon. So I'm thinking what they're going to do, instead of making, a strength 20 volcano cannon, it'll just be going off of the psychic phase, it goes, if you score 10, it's a mortal wound. It's probably if you roll a last cannon on a 6, it's a mortal wound you deal. On a D weapon on a 3, it's a mortal wound that you deal instead.
Yeah. It's one of the, I'm okay with, ignoring invulnerability saves, although it does counter the whole term invulnerability. But I'm okay with that, because you can't, and also, things outdoing dodges. Like you can't, like for example, Harlequins are tough to hit, but when the entire city block they're on is saturated in explosions, you can't dodge that.
Yes.
So it makes sense. Like I get that, but I'm hoping it doesn't become. I just want they have to tread carefully because with the min-maxing for like match play, you're gonna have a whole bunch of mortal wound listing to be count. Like
from
Yeah.
not that I'm saying it's gonna happen.
From what
BW knows what they're doing, but
from what we've also been hearing from their Q&A, because you bring up an interesting point, because this comes into question a lot with GW sometimes, is playtesting. Apparently, these new rules have been traveling to Adepticon and a couple of these other major gaming cons, and have been given to select players to playtest them out. And they have, to the best that we can, because there's going to be a way to do it, because there's a dude in their basement with 20 computers with his supercomputer algorithm crack-busting mega program Ultra 3000 wave jumper.
Exactly.
But GW said...
Wave jumper's an important part of that.
It is. GW said that they've worked to make it harder to create the Death Stars and the unkillable lists with this new form. They've tried to balance it, which has been a big thing everyone's going off
The
of.
question is it balancing or just making sure you can't do the things that were broken the last time? Because those are two different things.
From them, they're saying balancing. Like, they specifically said we've balanced it.
The last time wouldn't require that. It would just be straight up removing that role or removing that capability.
That's simple FAQ fixing.
Yeah, working on a balancing act is very different for this concept, and I'm sure they are. But we oh man, what was his name that we had that D&D group with who could break D&D for us?
Alex.
Like there's gonna be an Alex.
Oh yeah.
In any game.
Oh yeah.
So it'll be there, but any conscious work to acknowledge that is good.
Yeah, and like I said, that's why I said there's going to be some guy out there. They've worked to try and reduce that. And that's generally all we really have going fluff-wise. What they've told us so far with 8th is Abaddon's recent shenanigans has created a warp storm that has cut the Imperium in half. On one half, we have the Ultrama Segmentum, which has the Tau dealing with the Tau fighting with the Raven Guard, the Blood Angels dealing with the Nids, and some other bad stuff. So that's like the Xeno half of the problem. Okay. On the Terra side of it, we have the largest orc wog they've seen in ever recorded history, larger than the one that attacked Terra, it seems, going after Armageddon.
About time.
The Planet of the Sorcerers has returned, and it is in real space, and Abaddon is coming out of the Eye of Terror going, "I'm Abaddon!" And Gilliman has...
I really hope he sounds like that, by the way. I just want him to have the dumbest voice.
Curse you all! Death to the false emperor! We've got Gilliman going, "I shall build a new race of space marines with a new pieces of armor, and we are going to start our new crusade." And he's working with the Eldari, but mind you, as he goes on a crusade on his end of the warp storm, while everybody else on the other side of the warp storm is going, "We're going to just shoot the Xenos and chew bubblegum."
Well, it's important. You got to chew the bubblegum.
Yes.
Bubblegum is very important for powering las guns, if you didn't know.
Yes.
Of course.
How do you... It's like with the Rocketeer, that's how you get your jump pack to work. Gum.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. But
it's the key to the whole Imperial, military complex.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to more as it comes out and eventually the next edition. And it's kind of like... It's an interesting 1-2 setup because Dawn of War 3 is out.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And...
which I've heard mixed reviews on.
It's that I've played. I haven't beaten it yet, but I enjoy it. The orc banter is fantastic.
Orc banter is always great.
Banter.
Well, do you know the premise of the whole point of Dawn of War 3? How they're going after the Spear of Cain?
Yes, because of
We
a random.
do now.
Oh, Random Planet just shows up with the Doomsday device and everybody wants it.
Well, yeah, but it's not. It's Random Planet, but that's not so random, but is. And then so basically, the Spear of Cain and Eldar being Eldar want the orcs to basically be a distraction for them while they do stuff.
Yes.
So the Farseer says to Gorguts, I want you to get the spear and not this guy. And he's like, "Oi, what's that?" And he's like, "Is it a shooter? Is it a chopper?" And she's like, "It's the Spear of Cain." He's like, "A super pointy stick? I wants it." It's like that's fantastic.
Who doesn't want a super pointy stick?
It's just they really.
It's
got
great
the
for
orc
putting heads on.
Yeah, the orc
Indeed.
banter is great. I mean, all the banter is cool, but like the orcs, they really got them down pat. And
I
it's
feel that obviously, like, let's just say for argument's sake, just like obviously. Again, I haven't played the game yet. I want the game despite everything I've heard about it because it's Dawn of War and I'm a consumer whore when it comes to Dawn of War games.
Dude, it's just more Bloodraven love, man.
There
Love
are no...
Bloodraven.
Yeah, I'm pissed it's not Zarbon that plays Gabriel Angelos anymore.
Yeah, no, it's different voice actors, which I'm okay with because whatever for me. But like, because they do a great job. But it's
I'm no doubt, but it's like it's one of those things where like for like a good example, I love Brian Durandum or however you pronounce his last name as Vegeta. I'm gonna openly admit there are times where he's not the greatest, but I still love that voice.
Yeah, no, yeah, I get you. And the same thing with Gabriel Angelos.
Same deal with Gabriel Angelos. He may not be the best choice for Gabriel Angelos, but he was epic.
And I will say this: I don't know. I'm sure it'll come as DLC. There is no Last Stand out the gate.
Yep. Well, I hear
the way the elites are perfect for Last Stand. They're absolutely perfect.
I have heard tale that there's something at the end that hints to either DLC or a sequel.
Oh yeah, no, there'll definitely be expansions in DLC, I'm sure. But like the Last Stand mode must come to Dawn of War. Like
that was like the best part.
First
of Dawn
off,
of
there's
War.
way more elites per race than I thought there'd be,
Mhm.
and a lot, and you could do it different tiers because there's elite squads. So you can have Last Stand Elite Squad, Last Stand Elite Character, Last Stand Elite Super Heavy, for lack of a better term, right? You could do it that
Thunder
way.
Cougar Falconbird.
Because you got Imperial Knights and Gorgonauts and whatever. So like you could do it that way, and you could have imagine like rolling up with, let's just keep it at 3 because that's what it was, with 3 Imperial Knights and a Last Stand base encounter. That would be really fun. Like
That'd be fun as heck.
Yes.
so. Or like the Death Watch kill team and a Terminator squad and some other squad in Last Stand, stuff like that. There's no war gear. It's not like Dawn of War 2. Like that's the one thing I'll say about Dawn of War series. There's no familiarity with the game outside of the factions because every numbered game has been a completely redo of the RTS for them.
Yes.
So Dawn of War 3 is not like Dawn of War 2. It's like a hybrid between Dawn of War 2 and Dawn of War 1.
So...
There's actual base building, but not so much for like building turrets or generators. And you have your elites, which are like your heroes, which do level up, but there's no war gear.
So
there's doctrine.
What you're saying is Belial got his sword back.
Sure.
In Dawn of War 2, I forget which one of the pieces of artifacts that the Blood Angels get is Belial's sword. And that's where the whole joke that Blood Ravens steal everything came from, because they're like, people are sitting there going, how the heck did they get Belial's sword?
Blood Ravens are awesome.
It started this it spawned this comic where it's a bunch of space, I think it's like Blood Angels or something. They're like, sir, we've got transmission. We're getting visited by a bunch of strike cruisers. Oh well, well, that is good to see. To join up with our fair battle brothers. Tell us, by whom do we have the honor of sharing the company of? It is the chapter of Blood Ravens, sir. And then it shoots on the guy and it zooms in and he goes, bolt down everything.
It's true. That's why they got the nickname from Dawn of War 2. Is why they got the nickname of Magpies.
Yep.
But it's a good blend. It's a fun game. The visuals are great. The audio is great. It's also it's important to know this. The campaign is you don't get to pick a faction.
It just jumps back and forth.
It jumps back and forth
between
the race. Now, it's important to know that because you're going to be forced to learn and get good with all the races. And I'm weakest with orcs, and I know when I get into late game, that's going to be an issue. That's my one little caveat. But aside from that, like, it's a fun thing to play. It really is. Like, I'm not looking at it going, Dawn of War 2 was better. I'm looking at it going, like, I enjoy it and it's fun. But it's definitely, the one drawback is you don't have familiarity because you can't, you know? You can't have it when they redesign their RTS every time a numbered edition comes out. But
Right.
it's definitely cool. Like I said, the banter is fantastic. The Eldar still sound suitably Eldar-y. The Space Marines have a different, like, the Space Marine voices are there, and what I like about it is they have a calm intensity to their voice when they're bellowing out their orders, when you give them orders to do stuff. It's no longer like, they still have the educatedness sounding to them, like they're not going oi and stuff. They're still using proper grammar and everything. But instead of them saying, being like super calm about it for the most part, there's this threat of violence that hangs behind every word, which is like fitting because
Contained rage.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
That's
It's
cool.
like setting up the bolters. It's like, oh, I got it. Relax. It's like, I got it. It's like, you do you. I'm gonna go over here now. But it's fun, and because what I do like about Dawn of War 3 a lot is it definitely seems like they and GW went, look, you're in our universe, like this advertising for you play Dawn of War 3, now experience the miniatures in the game, like in the box, at least for the collector's box, which I got, but and probably for the other, just like Freeblade had, buy a real Freeblade. Like, they have actual, like, crossovering of support, which I like. And you see it on GW's website. You go on GW's website, and it announces Dawn of War 3, and it takes you to Dawn of War's website. I just like that. I like that close-knitness because if you look at the game units and everything, I look at them and I go, yep, these are the models made animated. These are animated models. These are fantastic. It makes me want to paint up an army again. Like, it has that over what Dawn of War. Like, Dawn of War 2 looked good. Don't get me wrong, but this really feels like you're looking at models that all of a sudden were put into the cupboard of the Indian in the cupboard and came to life. Like,
Well,
it's
that's
fantastic.
cool.
It's really cool.
So what we've got going also is we have a tentative theory about what we're going to be getting with 8th edition. Rumor is the 15th of June will be the drop of the rules, and we'll be getting more information as goes on. We have seen, no confirmation yet, but we have seen models of Space Marines that seem to be taller. So
Right, people are really stuck on that.
yes, because there's two rumors going off of it. One is they are an elite choice representing the dudes that Gilliman has built. Then they're like
Right.
super Space Marines. The other is they are true scale Marines and they're replacing the regular Marines. And that's what everyone's pissed about because of this. It's like with the 32 mil bases. What? So I have to replace everything? Blah!
Well, basically,
I have
they're
a
different
feeling
model.
if it's either of them, it's going to be the first one because they want to make cool super soldiers.
Yeah.
I don't
The way
think I
Gilliman-
really don't think they're ever going to officially do true scale.
Yeah,
Like ever.
the way Gilliman just talks in the trailer, it's heavily like I came off of, oh, he's making brand new Marines.
Yeah.
So we don't
He's
know what's
basically
going off
doing-
of that.
He's basically trying to make things close to the Custodian Guard.
Yes.
Because Custodian Guard are super Space Marines.
Basically.
They're mini Primarchs. So he's getting closer to that. He's doing what the Curse Founding tried and failed to do.
Basically. But now they have a
Which may be a
Primarch's
bad
DNA.
Well, yeah. When you have a Primarch leading it, it's gonna be fine because you have Primarch DNA to distill. Versus, I think this is right. Put this here. That'll be great. Oh no, they're on
Yes.
fire.
Apparently,
What's going on?
apparently, Gilliman's gene seed does play a role in the current fluff we're getting at. This is the rumor aspect of it. And that is the latest going ons with that. One thing that is interesting that just dropped, it looks like to be, I don't believe it's, well, actually, one of my friends actually posted this. It came off of, like, the GW website. I posted it in the description of our video thing here. It's a Kill Team build app for Shadow Wars Armageddon.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Which I thought was it's about dang time, especially since they also announced there will be an army building app. Oh, sorry, that thing came from the Long Island Warhammer page. Was this? I think it's a fan made.
It definitely looks fan made, but it looks like
fan made thing. Like... It looks really good. We also have, like I said, what was I saying? We're going to have an Army Builder app from GW. Hopefully it'll be a good Army Builder app and not like the kind of crummy one that Age of Sigmar got.
Yeah, well, if they do it right, back and forth, they had an Army Builder program you bought as a CD. I bought it. It was good. The problem
wasn't that a third party?
No, that was GW had it.
I did not know this. I knew of Army Builder.
There was an Army Builder, but then GW had one. The thing with the GW one is it didn't get updated ever. It didn't get updated at all. And it quickly became obsolete because new codex came out for the forces in there, and then the edition changed, and it was like, well, this is pointless. So
I've noticed that they tend to do that a lot. They make something... Well, as GW puts it, the old GW was make something, put it out there, never touch it again.
Yeah, they're finally starting to realize that you make something and then you want to keep making money off of that and more money eventually. You build a community around it and make sure that people enjoy what you're doing.
Yes. Which, hopefully, that they will continue with this trend. I mean, we did get an FAQ and the game isn't even out yet. So, I mean, that's a start.
It looks like they're making strides to really keep up with the upkeep and support. It definitely seems that way. And obviously the proof would be in the pudding of if they actually, continue once it's out. But, the only thing we can do is wait and see. Just like how we can only wait and see what happens with these supposedly taller Space Marines. Yep. People shouldn't get all in a panic attack until they actually come out. And if they come out as a special squad name, you're safe. If they come out as Tactical Marines, you might have an issue.
Rumor from a source that is been fairly reliable in the past has said they are bigger, they're closer in size to the Deathwatch Marines that were just made, they're closer to scale with them, they're eye level with a Stormcast Eternal. So it's not like they're these huge, giant models in comparison. They're maybe a head taller than a regular Space Marine. I'm just glad I bought all my Tactical Marines, so I don't have to worry. Until I mean,
it's really
new
nothing to worry about, period. But it's one of those wait and see things, and this is where again, the player base at large could learn something from the actual systems about fans that actually stick with it.
Yeah, unlike some people.
But and that is to have patience and just be relaxed about it.
Kill main burn. No more patience. We should all be angry now.
It's a new edition, so yes, we have to be angry. That's the law.
It is the law. It's changed. I fear it. I must be angry. Burn
everything.
But I will say, I like the direction they're going, and what I like about this is not that other companies have to follow GW's footsteps, but
follow GW's footsteps.
No, but for example, the Warhammer 40K site being less, being its own actual site, not just a tab from the main site. I would like to see that to be more just information dump for other games as well. Because I gotta be honest with you, when you go to Privateer Press's site to learn more about the game, it's quite annoying to learn about Warhammer Hordes through their site.
It's a terrible site. Their website's terrible.
It's very confusing. I clicked on one option once going, oh, let me look at this news post, and it sent me to this post about something I didn't even click on. I was like, this is not what I wanted. What? Right. What?
So that needed update. The Infinity side is pretty cool, but I'm just saying this. You have trendsetters in everything. McDonald's is the trendsetter of the fast food industry. What they do,
surprisingly,
copied and done. Well, they're like one of the OGs, and they are the trendsetter.
I know.
Target and Walmart are trendsetters for different reasons because they're not the same thing.
Yep. Mostly, just to be honest, working with Target, we just copied whatever Walmart did.
And Walmart probably did the exact same thing to Target.
Well, they did hire a bunch of CEOs from Target.
There you go.
And then immediately fired them. That should say something.
You have companies that are trend. They tend to set the trend and set the idea and set a bar that should be attained or eventually will get attained. Just looking at the realm of models, plastic, the incredible detail plastic, things are slowly going plasticer now,
Yeah.
more plasticky than they used to be in other companies.
Yeah.
So having that Warhammer 40K site, having that site to go buy a T-shirt and do stuff, having it be, I mean, one thing I'll give GW's main store site, they're really pretty good to navigate. Like navigation's easy.
It's pretty easy to find what you're looking for. Yes.
And now that you have its own dedicated Warhammer 40K lore site, for lack of a better term, that's gonna be pretty good. It's gonna have links to stores and links to other stuff, sure. So I like to look at GW because what they do, they're able to because of their weight. And I'm hoping that once the dust settles of this new edition and how they support it, things like Privateer Press, Infinity, Firestorm, and all that, we'll look at it and go, let's make our site more user-friendly in ways that they did this, but let's leave out this because clearly that it got a negative backlash. And then we can maybe get Privateer Press site that's navigatable. But
I just want to defend Infinity's website. Aside from their store page, pretty solid stuff.
my problem with the Infinity site is when you click to learn more, it just brings you to a little blurb, and it's like I want to learn more, as in more.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
like,
they have a lot of blurbs, and then you have to give them a little bit of credit because they're translating it all out of Spanish for us.
I don't that's superfluous. That's nothing in this day and age. I don't give them credit for that. But
Oh,
like
harsh.
I don't because
I know, I'm kidding.
Dude, my
They
phone
do a
can
lot
do
of
that
other
for
stuff to
me.
try to make it navigatable. The best thing about their site is just the free, easy to use, once you understand the rules, army builder stuff. It
well, no, that's
makes
great.
the game great.
Like their site is definitely, for being a young company, way better than Privateer Press's site. But it's like when you click on to learn more about like a certain force, like the Nomads, you get brought to like characteristics and comments, and then that's
Yeah.
it for the Nomads. Like no, I wanna actually learn more. I want to
You-
learn
you
more so
want,
I know
like,
what these characteristics mean. It's
real
like,
deep lore and stuff.
you know, I want to be able to not like I get it, they have a store site and everything, but if I
Their
click
store
on
site's kind of sucky. It used to be better, but they messed it up a while ago to fix some other things.
well, yeah,
They'll fix it eventually.
but if I'm clicking on a certain faction's thing to learn more about,
Mhm.
don't just show me two sample models. Give me that same fluff paragraph with a bit more to it, characteristics, and some comments from people.
And then maybe like one or two like pro players giving advice on it.
Yeah,
which is
don't
cool.
just give me that.
I appreciate it, but I
Yeah.
need I want like
show
more
me
fluff.
the units.
I agree
Show
with
me
you.
all your models. Show me stuff. Like wow me and dazzle me on my learn more. So I want to go and click your store site. You know what I mean?
They used to have that, and they took it down, and I don't know
know.
if they're putting it back up. It's annoying. I agree.
So that's like that. So I mean, but at least I can actually navigate it. Unlike Power Rangers Presses, it took me forever just to try and get to find like conversion to Cyrus stuff. I'm like, oh, just get me to your factions. What's wrong with you? It's like,
Yeah, no, Privateer Press is the worst website. It's almost as bad as Steve Jackson Games' website. Never go there.
Challenge accepted.
Is that website even updated ever, Steve Jackson?
No, it's still built like in Web 2.0 or whatever. It's like from '96.
I'm going there
It's
right
still
now.
an-
They have a Twitter account.
It's still an Angel Fire website, actually.
It feels like a geo site sometimes.
Like a
I'm not gonna
geosite or
lie.
a tripod.
It's
Yeah,
not
no
terrible
offense. I love their games,
presentation-wise.
but it's a terrible website.
It's not.
Like, here, I'm going to go to Privateer Presses since we were talking about it, because believe it or not, I do look at stuff outside of 40K things. Because I want to.
I don't believe it.
I want to look at stuff. Like I look at BattleTech all the time. BattleTech is its own can of problems.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you click
Yeah.
on War Machine the World, and it's like that's great, but now show me your factions. I click on Signar, it's like that's great, but that doesn't help me. It's like
Tell me
It's
more
just-
about why I should care about these guys in blue.
yeah, it's just like I don't know. That's one thing I'll give GW with their sites, and now how they're doing this whole new edition with this additional site
Yeah.
stuff. Granted, they got the weight to throw around like that, but at the same time, other companies should take notice and go, this might be smart for us to do, so you can learn our game and not just go, I don't understand. Like,
Yeah, you should do what Magic the Gathering does also, all this lore stuff. It's good. It gets people involved and engaged in your game.
It does.
yeah, I haven't. I've checked out their site a little bit here and there, but I've stopped because I'm like, I will not. I cannot. If I keep looking at what this is themed for me, I will end up buying stuff.
Yeah. Well, if it makes you feel better, I went on the site today, actually. I'm like, I need some magic fluff. I want to go read about the 5 colors again and what they all mean. It's not on the site anymore.
That's
They've like
unfortunate.
taken it all out to make more space for stuff like all the planeswalkers, all the planes, the overall storyline. I'm like, but I need my color pie. Tell me about the color pie.
Yeah, and it's just like I look at it and I'm like, well, they got at least the mythos is still there. You know, that's good.
It's got so much, like, they got tons of lore, and
But like,
the site goes on
like
and
they
on.
go right to their site. You have Amonkhet, which is like it's like
Yep.
they went, let's make James get back into magic. It's like,
Hey James, we have an Egyptian set, and there's mummies, and you should play it.
And with that, we are out of time.
yes.
Oh,
No, I will resist. I will resist.
Yes.
I will face my mirror and be stronger for it.
And so, thank you all for joining us today. So yeah, 8th edition. What are you people's thoughts on it? Are you excited? Are you terrified? Are you picking the best place to set your army on fire now? Let us know in the comments. And
are you going to play Shadow War or whatever it's called?
Shadow
I know
War?
I already
Oh,
pre-ordered
okay.
the book.
Me and my buddies got a date. We're just waiting for a day to set up so we can play because we have 2 sets and that makes a beautiful display. And if you haven't checked it out, they made a crane finally, like a legit crane, for 40K, and it's awesome.
Yeah, no, like kudos to Rain. Like,
It's they're finally doing stuff, not just buildings.
like here's a crane, a legitimate factual crane.
Like that stuff that stuff's like big for me. That's like, holy crap, that like I can now believe it. Kind of helps the immersion because you're like,
Yep.
that people were working until stuff went down.
Yeah,
Like,
and they're of a decent size too.
yeah,
so.
here, Phil, here's the crane I'm talking about.
Yeah, let me see this terrain. I'm just going to say thank you, Infinity, for making people care about terrain.
Oh, I've always
Well,
cared
actually-
about terrain. It's just that I've never had a
Actually-
chance to buy.
Infinity should thank UW because UW was with pioneers for selling terrain kits and getting it made for their company. So,
Oh yeah, no, totally. It's just Infinity had the best recently in like the past decade. Have been like, yes, you guys want to make terrain for us, and we'll market together.
And
Wait, no, that
this
was smart.
kit,
That
this
was
kit
Yeah.
comes with a toolbox with with a fire extinguisher
because it's on fire. But,
because they would have that for emergencies.
In the grim darkness of the future, there is always a fire extinguisher.
In the grim
For safety.
darkness of the far future, they apply to health fire safety codes.
It's good. It's real good.
So, thank you all for listening.
they might apply to it, but the last time that thing was actually inspected was probably millennia ago.
Probably. Oh, they have servitors. They have servitors specifically programmed to just check the fire extinguishers.
It's a subdivision of the Inquisition. It's the Ordo Vereticus. They check fire extinguishers. It's
I hate
really
you.
important, actually.
Well, what do you expect from the Flock Master?
Yeah.
God, I hate you. I hate you so much.
Too late. You walked into this rabbit hole. We're just dragging you through the rest of it.
I saw
Yes.
so much flock this weekend, which is a story for next time.
So, thank you all for listening, and until next time, Fearless Gamers, this is Matt the Vet,
James the Wild Card.
Phil.
the Flock
Flock
Master,
Master.
saying take care.
Peace.
Bye.